I'll say one of the biggest things that I like to tell people, networking is a two-way street. So I think there's a bad misconception with networking where a lot of people think, oh, networking is using people. I need a referral for a job. I need help starting up my own business. I like when I make a new connection, I'm emphasizing the give. So I'm trying to understand what their needs are, what their wants are. How can I help them? Can I refer them for a job? Can I help them with interview prep? Can I recommend a book? Can I recommend an article? Can I recommend an organization to join? Can I recommend a training certification to get? Like there's so many things that you can provide to help people, but I'm trying to understand their needs first. And I'm trying to assist them. There are a lot of people in my network I've never asked of anything. I've only offered to help them, and maybe I will never ask them for anything. But in the event that a day comes where maybe I ask them for something, it's the process of reciprocity. I don't feel so bad asking them for something because they've been in my network for 5 years, 10 years. I've regularly kept in touch with them. I've already offered them something. And if some at some point I ask for something, it's not as bad as opposed to what I see. I'll go to conferences all the time. I'll meet someone, and the day of the conference, like, oh, you work here? Can you refer me? It's like I've known you for 5 minutes, and the first thing that you're doing is asking for something. That's something that I think is very critical for people to understand. It's a two-way street.
I'm Kandas Rodarte, and you are listening to Gratitude Geek, the podcast for building genuine, lasting connections with clients, colleagues, and community. Today, I'm joined by Michael Morgan, the author of The Power of Networking, Strategies for Career Excellence, Job Development, and Building Greater Triumphs in Your Work. This is one of my most favorite topics, networking. But first, a promo from our friends at HoneyBook. HoneyBook is a client relationship platform that helps independents manage clients and projects with ease and confidence. With easy-to-use tools that create elevated client experiences, HoneyBook makes running your business and getting paid on time simpler. I've been using HoneyBook to manage the workflow of this podcast for 5, 6 years now. I love it. I couldn't live without it. Absolutely the best tool in my arsenal. So check the show notes for a special offer just for Gratitude Geek listeners. Welcome, Michael.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So what would you like listeners to know about you?
Well, I have a pretty extensive work experience. I've worked at Amazon, Walmart, JP Morgan, Chevron. So I've been able to navigate across some of the biggest companies in the world, navigate across some very different industries, financial services, oil and gas, tech, retail. So I've accumulated a lot of knowledge experience throughout my career, and I'm here to help other people achieve their goals and excel in their personal and professional development. And that's the reason I wrote the book. That's why I'm a motivational speaker now. I'm here to be on the show to help other people.
So those corporations all have their head office, their HQ in different states, which means you've moved around a lot.
Yes,
How many di- how many different
I've
states have you lived in?
I lived in six.
6 different states.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite?
Well, I was born and raised in New York, so New York's always going to have a special place in my heart. So I always put New York number one. But I've loved the journey I've been on. I've lived in Pennsylvania, Delaware, Texas, Washington, California. All hold special places in me and my heart, and are very different in their own ways. But nothing compares to New York, in my opinion.
I think that that is true for everybody. I'm a California girl. I wasn't born in California, but that's where I was raised. So where my ancestors are from. I mean, I'm the six generations of San Franciscans in my family, right? I haven't lived in California since I was 26 years old, but it's still home.
Right? No,
You
that makes
know,
sense.
you can take the girl out of California, but you can't take the California out of the girl. I want to start with the when. Since you've moved around a lot and you've worked at a lot of different companies and you lived in a lot of different places, when should someone start building their network?
So, in my opinion, I think the best time to start building your network is in college. And I know everyone doesn't go to college, so I mean, if that's not something that you pursue, I still think around that 18 to early 20s, I think that's the time frame when you start building that network. It's, in my opinion, it's a shame where people don't take advantage of that network of college. So, as an example, for undergrad, I went to Penn State. Penn State has 40,000 students on campus. And I'll talk to some of my friends that I went to Penn State with and like, oh, who do you still keep in touch with? Like, oh, 5 people, 10 people. You went to school with 40,000 people and you're still in touch with 5 to 10? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Or Penn State has the largest alumni network in the country. So I said I've moved to 6 different states. I'm a I've paid my dues to be a lifetime Penn State alumni member. Every city that I move to, I meet Penn State alumni from that particular city, and I grow my network in that city. And I'm leveraging that Penn State network wherever I go. But a lot of people don't do that. And a lot of people from Penn State are in the same field as me, the same function, the same industries, the same company. Like, why not build that network? You never know where a connection may lead you to. And that's part of the reason you even pay for college. Like, yes, you're going there to learn, but you're also going there to build up your network for when you graduate. So that's my thoughts. I think it should start as soon as you go to college.
Maybe even before that. I mean, as soon as you're in a position where you're building a group of people that could affect the rest of your life, that's when you should be building the network. You know, a 14-year-old kid doesn't want to hear this, but who you hang out with really does matter. You know,
Absolutely.
you know, it's really interesting to me through the course of my adult life. The relationships that have been the strongest are the ones that I've developed through school and things outside of working. I remember when I first moved to Texas, I had this really great coworker and we did everything together. We went to lunch together, we went dancing together, we just spent all our time together. And as soon as I left that job, we no longer were in touch with each other. We just dropped contact. And when I think about it, there's only one person from that company that I still talk to, even though we have all these great ways to connect with people today. It's really hard work to stay connected to the people that you used to work with. Talk about that.
Yeah, I would say I agree. I think it's difficult as well. I try to make the effort to keep in touch with everyone, all my connections from the different companies. What I find a lot of times, the people that I worked with at JP Morgan, no one's still at JP Morgan. The people I worked with at Chevron, no one's still at Chevron. We've all made multiple moves, and we've helped each other in our careers. Like people have reached out to me when I was at Amazon. I know people that were at Chevron that wanted to make the jump to Amazon, and I helped them with their interview prep. I helped them with referrals. Same thing like when I went to Walmart. Like so, even though we met at the same company originally, we're on different ventures, and we still keep in touch. We still find ways to help each other, whether it's through referrals, whether it's through interview prep, whether it's guidance. So I still keep people in my network and find ways that we can still help one another. And for the few people that may have stayed at the companies that I've worked at in the past, I know if I want to return to those companies, I left on good terms, and I have people within those companies that can vouch for me if I do want to return. There's a term Amazon uses all the time. They call it boomerangs, where a lot of people leave Amazon and then they come right back. And it's good to keep that network within Amazon because let's say in the event that I want to go back, I already know people at the company that can vouch for me and help me get my foot in the door. And on top of the fact that I've already worked there, I already had good reputation, great end of the year reviews and scores. So it's very easy to return or navigate to other places because I've kept that network regardless of what company I'm working at.
Yeah, but how did you do it? How are you doing that?
I would say the biggest thing is you need consistency. So I treat everybody differently, but I try to set up a cadence of when I'm reaching out to people. So there's some people in my network I may speak to every week, some people monthly, some people quarterly, but I try to make the effort to reach out on a regular cadence so that it hasn't been 5 years, 10 years that we haven't spoken together. And now all of a sudden I'm reaching out of the blue. Like to me, that's bad networking. What I see all the time is that someone won't speak to someone for years, and all of a sudden they need something. I need a job. I need a referral. They start reaching out to someone they haven't talked to in 10 years, and now it could rub someone the wrong way. You're only reaching out to me when you want something, when you need something, as opposed to just reaching out on a periodic basis. So whether it's like whether it's text, whether it's phone calls, whether it's Zoom calls, whether like I'm trying to set up regular touch bases where I'm speaking with people, where I'm meeting with people. If I'm traveling, whether it's for work or personal, and I know somebody in my network lives in that city, I'll reach out. I'll say, "Hey, I'm in your city for the weekend. Do you have time to grab coffee? Do you have time to grab lunch?" Or I'll set up a phone call like, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'd love to catch up. Do you have time for a phone call?" And I'll talk to them on the phone. I'm finding ways to just touch base with them. I use LinkedIn all the time. When I see on LinkedIn someone in my network gets a new job, gets a new certification, instead of me just putting a like on their post, I'll send them a message or I'll text them and say, "Hey, I haven't spoken to you in a while. I saw you just started a new job. I'd love to catch up. Are you free for a phone call?" And that way, I'm regularly talking to people in my network every few months, every year at the minimum, and it hasn't been a gap of time where I haven't talked to people in like years. So it's a matter of figuring out that cadence for you and when is a good time for you to constantly reach out to people. And I try to leverage different things, commutes. You lived in California. When I lived in California, I spent 3 hours commuting to work every day. I'm on the BART train and I'm walking to the office. I I can't pull up my laptop and do work. That's very uncomfortable on the BART train. I use that as time to pull up my phone and call people and text people and keep that network going. Or I love to travel and I get anxious if I show up to the airport and my flight leaves in 30 minutes and I'm running, that's not how I want my my flight experience to be. So I'd rather show up 2 hours early and be on the safe side. And now I'm just hanging out in the airport. I have all this free time. That's time for me to network. I haven't spoken to this person in a while. I haven't spoken to this person in a while. So I'll find opportunities where I have just free time and I'll use that as, okay, this is a good opportunity. I haven't spoken to this person in this amount of time. Let me give them a phone call. Let me shoot them a text. Let me try to set up a Zoom call with them. But to me, it's very easy to make a connection. It's difficult to maintain it.
The tip that you just gave about LinkedIn, where you see that they've done something new, they have a new job or they just got a new certification, and then you inbox them and you say, "Congratulations. It's been a while. We haven't talked in a while. Do you have time to chat?" I mean, that is gold. And if the only thing that anyone takes away from this is that's the language that you use, then you've just given everybody the who's listening something that they can, some actionable advice that they can take advantage of starting right now. Like right now, go to LinkedIn, look at your feed. Did somebody just start a new job? Did somebody just get a new certification? Did somebody just post something inspirational that really resonates with you? Inbox them.
Exactly.
Great tip. But what if they're not on LinkedIn? Or what if you're not engaged in LinkedIn? Or what if you're like me and you're trying to go through a social media detox and you're trying not to be on social media for the next 6 months? How do we keep track of the people that we need to be keeping in touch with? Do you have tips
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that I use. A lot of people seem to like it. I keep a spreadsheet. So I
Just a
have
straight up spreadsheet.
a spreadsheet. So I have a spreadsheet. I list different people that I've met at different companies that I want to keep in touch with. These are former managers, these are mentors, or like anyone that fits in that realm, colleagues. And I have a spreadsheet. It lists their name, it lists their email, it lists the last time I contacted them, it lists specific items about that person. I may list what their partner's name is, what their kids' names are, what are their hobbies? Do they like to travel? Do they like to run? And now when I'm reaching out to them, I can go on that spreadsheet. I can say, "Oh, I haven't spoken to this person since July 2024. It's due time for me to reach out." And I'll either give them a phone call or shoot them a text. I'll send them a message and say, "Hey, how's it going, Bob? How's the wife, Janet? How are the kids, Billy and Joey? When was the last time you went on a traveling trip?" And I make it a very specific, tailored message because I know that person. I know about their family. I know about their job. I know about their hobbies. And that spreadsheet helps keep me track of it's hard to keep track of everybody's specific interests and hobbies and their families. So that helps me keep track so that when I reach out to them, it's tailored for them because I know them specifically. And it keeps track of when was the last time I reached out to them. So I'll just regularly check my spreadsheet, check the last time I reached out to people. And when it's a certain amount of time has passed, that's a flag for me to say, oh, it's time for me to reach out to that person again. So that
It's a
helps me.
simple solution. How many people are in your spreadsheet?
It's growing. So on the spreadsheet, I want to say it's probably 30 to 40. And then outside the spreadsheet, I try to reach out to people through LinkedIn. And sometimes if I'm in the airport or if I'm commuting, I may just pull up my phone and just kind of scroll through and see the names. And if I see a name pop up that I haven't spoken to in a while, I don't have it noted like I do in the spreadsheet. But if I know I haven't spoken to that person in months or a year, I may just give them a phone call or shoot them a message. So I have a few different methods to make sure that I'm keeping in touch, whether it's leveraging LinkedIn, whether it's just me going through my phone, whether it's me leveraging a spreadsheet. But I'm trying to hit as many different platforms as possible.
This is gold right now. Your spreadsheet is 25 to 30 people that you are keeping track of. Is that what you said? 20.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the average person knows 250 to 300 people on a first, I recognize your face, I know your voice, I know your name, right? We can keep that much in our head. So you are only really tracking the top 10% of your of your know like trust network. That is so much more achievable. A lot of folks are thinking, oh my God, but I know 300 people. How am I going to keep a spreadsheet on 300 people? You're not keeping a spreadsheet on everybody. You're keeping a spreadsheet on the people that can most significantly and positively impact your network. Am I off base there?
No, you're absolutely correct. Like that spreadsheet is like director level, mentor level, like I said, the most influential people that I've worked with at every company that I knew I want to make sure I keep a part of my network. Those are the people that I'm tracking, and those are the people that could really help me throughout my career journey. Even though I'm no longer at those specific companies, I still want to make sure that I don't lose them as part of my network.
Here's an action step, listener. Wow, we have a lot of action steps today. You're going to work hard, listener, today. Here's your action step. Review your CRM, your network, and identify who that top 10% is. And keep notes on them or tag them or whatever it is so that you are constantly checking in with them. I mean, I've interviewed 300 people or so for this podcast. I can't keep track of all 300 people, but I could certainly keep track of my favorite 38 guests, right? I could certainly keep touching base again or inviting them back on the show or, you know, the ones whose messages really resonate with the audience. If I was tagging them correctly, you know, don't say top 10, call it something else because, it's pretty obvious if someone saw your spreadsheet, what's this top 10? How come I didn't make the top 10? you know? I mean, that is, and most CRMs have the ability to tag. This is gold. This is gold. So the listener is a solopreneur, micropreneur. Most of them don't have corporate careers and they haven't had corporate careers in decades. What can you teach them that you've learned through corporate America?
I'm still in corporate America, but I'm also doing my own entrepreneurial like venture. So now I'm a published author. Now I'm doing motivational speaking. I'm speaking at universities, I'm speaking at companies, I'm speaking for organizations. I'm still applying the same concepts of networking I was doing in corporate is the same concepts I'm applying in my entrepreneurial venture. A lot of people in my network are helping open up doors for me to go speak at companies and organizations. One of my close friends I used to work with at Chevron, my first speaking engagement was for his company called Line Leader. And I haven't worked at Chevron. I left Chevron 2017. So I haven't worked at Chevron for 8 years. But because I kept a network with someone that I worked with 8 years ago, that got me my first speaking gig in my entrepreneurial venture. Like a lot of the people in my network at different companies that I've worked at have been my biggest supporters. They were the first people that bought copies of my book and have been, I didn't even ask them. Not only did they buy copies of my book, but they posted it on their social media and pushed it out to other people in their networks.
Mm.
So you just don't know where, like, how these connections can affect you, especially being an entrepreneur. You're starting up your own business, whether you have a product, whether you have a service. A lot of people that you put in your network, they can be your advocates. They can be your customer base that are being honest with you. Like, hey, I think you should change this. Hey, I think you can improve this. And they can share their thoughts so that you can build out your business and make it a better business and help get the word out for your business. Word of mouth makes a huge difference. So there's so many things that can be important when it comes to building out your network, especially being an entrepreneur. Because this is a brand new venture for me.
Yeah.
I've this is my first time writing a book. This is my first time getting to public speaking. And when I tell people how many book sales I have and how many speaking gigs I've obtained in less than a year, people are like, "How are you doing this?" Well, my network helped me because if it wasn't for my network that is by my side and supporting me in this endeavor and opening up doors for me, I probably wouldn't have the amount of book sales I have. I probably wouldn't have the number of speaking engagements that I have. Like I said, whether you're in corporate, whether you're doing the entrepreneurial route, having that network is going to be critical.
So we've talked about when, we've talked about who, we've talked about where to find people. We've talked a little bit about what, but what else should people be doing when they're staying connected and networking?
I'll tell you one of the biggest things that I like to tell people, networking is a two-way street. So I think there's a bad misconception with networking where a lot of people think, oh, networking is using people. I need a referral for a job. I
Yeah.
need I need help starting up my own business. I like when I make a new connection, I'm emphasizing the give. So I'm trying to understand what their needs are, what their wants are. How can I help them? Can I refer them for a job? Can I help them with interview prep? Can I recommend a book? Can I recommend an article? Can I recommend an organization to join? Can I recommend a training certification to get? Like there's so many things that you can provide to help people, but I'm trying to understand their needs first, and I'm trying to assist them. There are a lot of people in my network I've never asked of anything. I've only offered to help them, and maybe I will never ask them for anything. But in the event that a day comes where maybe I ask them for something, it's the process of reciprocity. I don't feel so bad asking them for something because they've been in my network for 5 years, 10 years. I've regularly kept in touch with them. I've already offered them something. And if some at some point I ask for something, it's not as bad as opposed to what I see. I'll go to conferences all the time. I'll meet someone and the day of the conference, like, oh, you work here? Can you refer me? It's like I've known you for 5 minutes. And the first thing that you're doing is asking for something. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's something that I think is very critical for people to understand. It's a two-way street. Make sure that you're giving something, and it doesn't have to be something big. Like I interview prep people all the time, and people are like, "Oh, thank you for providing a referral. Thank you for interviewing me. Let me take you out to lunch. Let me buy you coffee." Right? Like it could be a small gesture, but the fact that they're offering something in return, it makes a big difference. I would say first and foremost, make sure that you understand it's a give and take relationship. I think that's critical. I also think it's critical just get to people know people as individuals. Like, yes, people work at companies. Yes, people are entrepreneurs, started their own business. But I try to get to know people for who they are. Like where are you from? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? What are what do you foresee in the next 5 years? How can I help get you there? What is tell me more about your family. Tell me where you went to school. I'm getting to know them as individuals. They become part of they're part of my network, but they become friends. So I think that makes a huge difference as well, where when I'm connecting with people, I'm not just talking business all the time and just asking, oh, where do you work? What do you do? What can you do for me? It's, hey, I'm like, let's build a relationship. Let me actually try to get to know you. I'd say those are really critical when it comes to networking, and not making it transactional. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people look at it as like, what can you do for me? And that shouldn't be the case.
So one of the things I'm not good at is asking. I'm really, really good at connecting. I consider myself a master connector. I mean, when you released your book, all these people bought it because you told them that you released your book. I'm not good at that. So talk about ways to let people know what you're doing that aren't slimy sleazy. Because I think that my problem is I'm afraid that they're going to think I'm trying to sell them something. So talk about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I leverage social media a lot for my book launch, and I took the approach I wanted people to be a part of my journey, but I didn't want to come off as I'm trying to sell them something. So, as an example, when I was in the process of publishing my book, I was working with someone to come up with book cover designs. So one of the things I posted on social media is, oh, I have these three different cover designs. I'm going to publish a book. I would love your thoughts and input. Can you let me know what cover designs that you enjoy? So that's not me forcing my book on people and telling people, hey, go buy my book. A lot of people were like, oh, you're writing a book. So people are reaching out to me to ask me questions. What's your book about? What inspired you? Tell me more. And then people they're voting. Oh, I like this cover. I like that cover. So now they feel part of the process. And now my next post is, hey, thank you for your feedback. I end up selecting this book cover. I appreciate it. I wouldn't be able to make the decision without your help. And now they're, oh, like I helped him make the decision of this book. And then I make a post like, hey, my book is launched. And my post didn't say, hey, my book is available. Buy it on Amazon, buy it here, da da da. I just said, I published my book. This is a great milestone for me. Thank you all for being a part of the journey. And now they feel like they were a part of that journey with me. And I at no point did I never made a post that said my book's available on Amazon. The link is here. Click it, buy it. I'm just telling people I'm sharing my journey. I just made a post this month. I've crossed 1,000 sales. And
Congratulations.
oh, thank you.
That's actually really
Um
huge. Sorry, authors, but most folks don't sell 1,000 books.
yeah, I mean I'm happy with it.
Yeah,
It's a big accomplishment for
that's
me.
huge. Yeah, that's
But
huge.
it was me sharing a milestone. Like I'm proud that I was able to hit 1,000 sales. And in response, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm buying it now. I'm buying it now." And I didn't. Once again, I didn't put, "Hey, my book's on Amazon. Buy it here. Here's the link." I'm sharing the journey. So people have seen my journey. They've seen me from the design stage, trying to figure out what cover design to publish, from the stage where I actually launched the book to the stage where now I'm doing speaking engagements. I spoke at the company line leader. I spoke for National Black MBA Association. I spoke for Cyversity. I spoke at these different conferences. So now people are seeing this journey. Now I've just hit this new milestone. So I'm sharing the journey with people. And as they're watching the journey, they want to learn more. They're like, oh wow, he's speaking to all these companies. He should speak for my company. He should speak for my organization. He should speak for my university. And now people are reaching out to me for speaking opportunities. I didn't reach out to them and say, hey, I'd love to speak at your company. I'm sharing my journey on social media.
So
I
you're
didn't,
just doing it through social. You're not you're not using an email list. You're not reaching out and saying, "Hey, this is what I'm doing now." You're just sharing it on social.
yeah, social media. I'd say when I first launched, I was using some marketing on like Amazon, on Google, on Instagram, on BookBubs and different book sites. I'd say I did marketing for maybe a month. And then after that, I kind of cut back on marketing. I focus on just posting on my own social. I have an email listserv where I share like knowledge and guidance on a regular basis. I'll email
But you do
them,
you
but
do
I'm
have an
not.
email list though. You
Yeah,
okay, okay. Very important. You have the email list.
yeah,
You said something just now that I hope the listener heard. You marketed for a month and now you're just posting on social. A lot of folks think that posting on social media is marketing. No. That they're not. You want to talk about that?
oh
Why
yeah,
you said that?
yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely it's two different things. So like marketing, you're paying for ads where people that aren't a part of your network, they will naturally see it. So if you're paying for ads on Google, people are searching, maybe they're searching networking. Well, now my book pops up because I paid for a Google ad. Or like on Instagram, Facebook, people are searching for certain things, and now my book is sponsored Amazon. If you're looking for a book that is focused on professional development or interview preparation or networking, my book pops up. So like I'm paying for ad space and I'm trying to get you to click on either my website or a link to Amazon. Social media, it's it's a way for me to promote what I'm doing. Like it's more I look at social media as my personal branding. Like what do I want people to perceive me? Like I want people to understand these are the talking points that I have. Like these are the speaking gigs that I performed. I've talked at these different schools, these different universities. So I'm building up my reputation through my social media. Whereas if I'm paying for an ad on marketing, I'm trying to sell you a product. I'm trying to sell you a service. I'm trying to look at what are the number of clicks, what are the number of conversions. Like that's marketing. But social media is giving me an outlet to build up my brand image.
Yeah, exactly. So what if someone were to read your book, what would they learn?
So, I mean, there's a lot of tidbits in the book. I mean, obviously, the name of the book is The Power of Networking. So, first and foremost, I talk about how to build and maintain your network and the benefits of doing so. But I get into a lot of workplace challenges. I get into interview preparation. How do you differentiate yourself and stand out in an interview? How do you navigate career conferences? Like, how do you excel in your role as an individual contributor? How do you lead without authority? How do you influence in the workplace? How do you make that transition from an individual contributor to a people manager? So I get into a lot of different areas where you'll need to navigate from a corporate career standpoint. But the core of the book, the heart of it, is around networking, building and maintaining relationships, which will be beneficial regardless if you're in corporate America or whether you're doing the entrepreneurial route. That's the core of making your business successful.
So it sounds to me like this might be a great gift for someone graduating from college.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And honestly, some of the biggest feedback I've been getting is from university students or people that have just graduated from colleges and are now entering the work world. As I said, I've already spoke at Penn State University, Texas State University, Carnegie Mellon University, Houston Tillotson University. So a lot of students have been reaching out to me and they love the message that I'm sharing. So I mean, whether you're just entering college or just graduating college, that market has been giving me a lot of great feedback and love the message that I'm sharing.
So why should a solopreneur read your book?
So as I said, the having that network, it's it will speak volumes for you to be able to build out your business. You before you even launch your business, you're going to want to have a group of people that you can vet your ideas with and see, hey, do you think this is viable? Does this make sense? Does not make sense? Is there anything that I need to tweak? You're gonna want some type of target audience that you want to just test things out before you actually release it to the mass market. So having that network can help guide you, like maybe steer your ideas in different directions, make you think about things that you may not have thought about. You're one person. I love diversity of thought. I may think I have a good idea, and if I speak to 10 different people, they may look at things differently than I look at things. So it's always good to bounce your ideas off other people to help make your idea more well-rounded, make sure that you're thinking of all the different nuances that may not have necessarily popped into your head. My background's in operations and strategy. If I speak to someone in finance, they're going to think about something differently than someone who's in legal, who's someone different in product management. So that's why it's good to have those different people in your network to share your ideas. It's good to have that support system, that structure that can be there for you when times get rough. The entrepreneurial route is not easy. So having people that can help like be there for you, support you, encourage you, give you mentorship guidance throughout the process. Um, having your network can essentially be your customers. They can eventually turn to customers buying your product, buying your services. They can do marketing for you. They can share through word of mouth, through their social media. Like there's so much that benefit that you can get from your network when you start your own business that you can't even quantify the impact. So it's definitely important. Like I said, regardless if you're doing the corporate route or whether you're doing your own business, you're going to need a strong network, and it's going to open up doors for you.
You nailed it when you said you're the operations dude, but when you talk to a finance dude, you're going to have a different they're going to have a different way of looking at things after talking to you because you're going to have a different perspective. That's exactly why a solopreneur needs a big network. It needs a good, strong network because solopreneurs are good at what they do. Like my husband and I weren't solopreneurs, we owned a business together. And he is really good at operations and I'm really good at sales. And together we built a huge business. It's always good to hire the right people and to network with the right people. Okay, I need to backtrack because you said something and then we went in a different direction, but I want to come back to it. You talked about how you sold 1,000 books, and then I made the comment, "Congratulations, most authors don't sell that many books." All right, and there might be some people in the audience listening who are like, "Well, then what's the point of writing the book?"
So
Talk
I
about
mean,
that.
yeah, the so this goes back to what I was saying with the brand image. So like it builds up my reputation and my credibility, so it can open up doors for other opportunities. So a lot of I've since I've written the book, I've met a ton of authors. Like the doors have opened wide open, and a lot of authors are now starting a business doing consulting. Now they're starting a business providing coaching. Now they're starting a business becoming a motivational speaker. If I'm a published author with 1,000 books sold, now that gives me the credibility where I can provide coaching, where I can provide consulting, where I can provide public speaking, as opposed to if I just went up to a company or organization and said, "Hey, my name is Michael Morgan. I have over 15 years of work experience at these companies. I'd love to speak at your organization." They may be hesitant. It's like, "Hey, I don't know who you are. I've never heard of you." But now I'm a published author. I have 1,000 sales. I have my own website. I've been making consistent posts on social media. When I reach out to an organization, I can send them the links to my social media. I can send them links to my book. I can send them links to my website. I can show them sales. I can show them testimonials. Like it's all building up my brand image and my reputation. So yes, I mean selling books is a plus. I'm grateful that I was able to sell 1,000 books, but I became a published author to build up that credibility to open up doors for more ventures.
Yeah, and the results have been speaking engagements and building a stronger network.
Exactly.
And so, the average book sale might net you $2, $5 if you're lucky, right? So the most you're going to make on 1,000 book sales from the book is what, $5,000? Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Did I do that math right? But you could get $5,000 from one speaking engagement. It's not about how many books you sell, it's about the opportunities that open up because you wrote the book.
exactly.
Since we're talking about books, how do you feel about AI writing your book for you?
I know we're moving into a world where people are leveraging more AI. I like that authenticity. So, I mean, that's just me personally. So I get it. I'm not against automation AI. I've heard a lot of feedback from people that read my book who they love the stories that I inputted. I've given career advice, but then I've said, oh, hey, this is how I applied this advice when I worked at Amazon. This is how I applied this advice when I worked at Chevron. This is what I did at Walmart. So now they can see the connection. Not only am I giving advice, but I'm opening up myself. I'm being authentic. I'm sharing real stories of my personal life, of my professional career, how I've applied this and how it's been able to benefit me. And I think that authenticity and me being genuine, that built a better connection with the readers. Uh, I feel that a lot of people can tell when AI is writing a blog or a book versus when an individual is writing a blog or a book.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to learn more about AI. I've been taking trainings and I don't want to fall behind because I know that's where the world is trending. So I'm just trying to learn more about it and how I can use it and how I can leverage it. But as far as using it to write my book, I steered away from that and I tried to just write the book on my own.
It just popped in my head. My favorite books. I read a lot of nonfiction. My favorite nonfiction books have action steps at the end. At the end of each chapter. And something that you can do to enhance your book and make it more action oriented, listener, is you can put the chapter into one of the GPTs and you can say, hey, based on this book chapter, what are three action steps a person should take after they read it? And then you can say, okay, based on this chapter, what is the TLDR? The too long didn't read. What is the TLDR for this chapter? And then you can summarize the chapter at the beginning of the chapter, and at the end you can provide the action steps. AI helped you do that, but it didn't write your chapter for you. It's just an idea. I just came up with that.
No, and that's honestly that's a fantastic idea. I mean, the end of all my chapters, I had summaries. I worked with an editor, and the editor gave me feedback like, "Hey, this is a great chapter, but if you want it to be a business book, you should put a summary at the end of the chapter." So I myself went through every chapter again and tried to summarize it in some bullet points. So there's key takeaways at the end of the chapter. But that was me doing all the work, going through every
Yeah,
chapter and summarizing it, as opposed to, like you said, I probably could have leveraged AI and maybe cut down the time to put the book together. But
but
it's not having the AI write the book for me.
I love that you said your editor suggested that. That means I knew what I was talking about. I like to help people, and so my brain is constantly thinking about ways to help people. We need to start wrapping up. So, is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
I would say the biggest thing, I hope people reach out to me, whether it's going to my website. My website's michaelvmorgan.com. That's V as in Victor, michaelvmorgan.com. Uh, I'm on LinkedIn, same thing, Michael V. Morgan. I'm on Instagram, michael.v.morgan. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help. People reach out to me all the time, and I try to give them tips, advice to help them in their career journey, whether it's interview preparation, whether it's changing industries, whether it's excelling in your role, whether it's entrepreneurial venture, because I'm on my own entrepreneurial venture right now. So I'm here to help. So feel free to reach out anytime. And like I said, it's been a pleasure being a part on your podcast today.
Thank you. So, what's one action step that somebody should take now that they've listened to this interview?
I'd say first and foremost, you gotta put yourself out there. A lot of people don't think networking should be a part of their job. I look at networking as part of my job, as a company employee, as an entrepreneur. It's something that I have to do. Not only do I put myself out there to make new connections, I'm putting in the effort to maintain those connections, reaching out to people regularly, whether that's maintaining a spreadsheet, whether it's leveraging LinkedIn, whether it's just scrolling through your phone. Find different ways to make sure you're maintaining that connection. Make sure it's a two-way street, give to get, emphasize the give. Find out ways that you can help other people before you ask for something on your own. These are all different things that will really help you try to build genuine relationships, get to know people as individuals. The job is what they do, it's not who they are. Understand their interests, their hobbies, their families, their passion. It all goes a long way. And this will make sure that you have great, sustainable relationships for a long period of time.
My advice is to do that top 20 exercise, or top 10% exercise. Find those 20 to 25 people in your network that you need to be in contact with on a regular basis and figure out a way to do a spreadsheet, tag them in your CRM, whatever it is that you need to do. Make sure that you're staying in touch with those top 20, 25 people in your network and identify them correctly. Don't just identify your former CEO. Identify the people who you resonate with their message, they resonate with your message, and that you can help each other. Because, yes, you can help the CEO of the company that you used to work for. You can. There's something you can do. There's an opportunity for there. Don't think that you can't just because you did something else, There's always an opportunity. That's my advice. Michael V. Morgan, I put the V in there so that people would know to look for you with the V on social. Michael V. Morgan, this is your moment of gratitude. For whom or what are you most grateful?
I'm most grateful for my family. They've been my rock, my support. My fiance, I'm getting married in 3 weeks, so I'm grateful for her. So she's been a big part of my life. She's been a big inspiration for me making this entrepreneurial journey as well. So yeah, I'm grateful for everything that I have. I try to practice more mindfulness where I'm appreciative of the moment. One of the things that my fiance and I do every week, we just write in note cards of what we're grateful for. And at the end of the year, like we just did it because the year just ended, but we opened up all of our note cards and we read all the things that we said we were grateful for over the past year. So and it was, I mean, it was a good moment, bonding moment for us to share, where sometimes things just happen and they come, they go, you forget about it. But it's almost like we were reliving all the moments of 2024, of all the things that we accomplished, all the memories that we had, the fun times, the achievements, and to me, it was a very special moment. So I think a lot of times people are always looking for that next thing. Oh, I want this promotion, or I want this goal, I want this, and they don't appreciate what they have in their lives. I think it's a good tradition that we started, and I'm looking forward to continuing. But I'm definitely grateful for her and for my family and all the love and support.
Thanks for tuning in to Gratitude Geek, the podcast for grateful micropreneurs building genuine, lasting relationships with clients, colleagues, and community. Our theme music is by Rev Brock and Soul Lily. To connect with Michael V. Morgan and check out the resources we've talked about today, head over to the show notes at gratitudegeek.com. This is episode 261. I've been your host, Kandas Rodarte. Stay groovy, my friends.
Stay groovy, my friends.